Hi guys, welcome back to the I'm Factor podcast. I'm your host, Gabriella, where I talk about career, lifestyle, self-care and wellness, and other major topics adults go through. The I'm Factor is all about understanding what you bring to the table and using that factor to help you live your best life. I bring impactful guests and experts on along the way to showcase the I'm Factor in action. I hope this episode motivates and inspires you in some way. Thanks for listening, and let's get into it. I am so excited to have this guest on the podcast today. He is an entertainer, a content creator, a comedian, and so much more. He was born in Ukraine and is now an icon in the Russian-American community. He graduated film school and got into the Screen Actors Guild at 19 years old and has worked in production for music videos, commercials, and fashion. So without further ado, I would love to welcome my dear friend, Gary, to the I'm Factor podcast. Welcome, Gary.
Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited to have you here.
You look so beautiful.
Thank you. Sort of I was going to say, we're wearing like the same aesthetic colors. I love it. Very chic of us.
Pastel.
I love it. Spring. I love it. And your jacket is also sick. We'll post on Instagram the back of your jacket because it's next level. It's next level.
To speak in Russian a little bit? Can I throw in some words? Okay.
Of course.
Just in case.
You know, we're bilingual. Yeah. And for those that don't understand Russian, we'll put little subtitles on the bottom.
Little subtitles.
So, yeah, but I'm so excited to have you here. And I have to say, this is a very surreal moment for my 10-year-old self, because I grew up being first-generation American. As you heard on episodes before, my mom's episode, my dad's, they came to America when they were younger. And you have just been such a celebrity and icon in my family's eyes for so long. And the fact that obviously you're here on this podcast, but the fact that we are good friends, like we've traveled together, we have really created such beautiful memories and a bond together. Like that is so mind-boggling to me, that who I used to watch and still do on YouTube and all the great things you've done and are doing is like a dear friend of mine.
Thank you.
I know you get always but it's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate all the kind words.
Seriously.
But you're an amazing person as well.
Thank you, guys.
As much as I've created and have an interesting way of telling stories,
really
you're
awesome
also an amazing person.
Thank you.
You are one of these people to me. You know, there's a lot of people who are energy suckers. They're like negative people.
Oh, yeah. We know a lot of them.
There's these people to me who are nor givers or takers. They're just like, you can just vibe with them. Mm-hmm. But you're just like that person that always gives. You just have this energy of just love. Like you have like this beautiful, and I love being around you. And it's so nice really I could be around you and I can be around your husband and together. And it's
separate,
and it's like beautiful. Like I think you had like an amazing upbringing with your parents. That like
I'm very grateful.
At your core, you're beautiful.
Gary, I love you so much. No,
I'm beyond grateful to be here on this podcast. I'm so thrilled. I'm been also like shooting and shot already my
we're gonna get into all of it.
Yeah, but it's just so exciting for you and being part of your process and your story here.
And it means a lot coming from you, because like you are just have already been in this space and entertaining and content creation for so long. So I look up to you in that regards too. So you saying that is like.
So what episode number is this?
This is probably going to be episode 17.
Ooh.
And for
that's
season.
My birthday number.
No way. It's meant to be, Gary. It's
June
meant
17th.
To be.
I like that number.
Oh my God. Yes. Wait. I didn't put. Okay, perfect. So we're going to make sure it's the 17th.
Gemini. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm crazy, but I'm on the cusp. Double Cancer. I'm a little sensitive, you know.
You are.
That's what they say. These.
I don't know about all the nitty gritty, but like I know like high level. But
I think it's funny to me.
Whatever. We're all human.
It's all red flags.
Gary's amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's so amazing with this I'm Factor stuff. I never understood what it meant until recently.
Yeah.
And like it makes sense.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I wanted something that really resonated with me, and then I wanted to figure out like what I could do to get that out there, and it happened to be a podcast, at least as a first step. So I'm excited. You're going to hopefully be the 17th episode out of 20 for season 1. So we'll see after that. We'll see what happens.
Yay.
The world's our oyster, I guess, right? Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to have you here. I obviously know you very well, but I know many people tuning in know you for some things or don't know you at all. So can you just give a general overview? Who is Gary, aka Garik Sukarik? Who are you? Where were you born? What do you do? Just give us a little
I have no idea
lowdown.
who I am.
No clue. Well, you're born on June 17th.
June 17th. I'm a Gemini. I'm just a person who accidentally became an actor, who always was a clown and was embraced by my family to being a clown, especially my mom, and was just obsessed with sports and following through with it, and stumbled upon acting accidentally just for fun through Craigslist. And next thing you know, I was in a movie with Bruce Willis, and I got into the Screen Actors Guild called Assassination of High School President, where I got my waivers to get into the union. And next thing you know, I was thinking to myself, I'm an actor. I just got paid a lot of money, and I don't feel like I deserve the money. I'm like, why did I get paid for it? I'm like, do I deserve this money? So at first I was like, I didn't consider myself an actor for a long time, whereas they say thespian. I hate, everyone likes to put different titles, but I'm a person who's I realized I'm really good at observing people. I now to people like, what do you do, Gary? Everyone says because no one really knows what we do on a regular basis. They see me
on the
online,
day-to-day.
and I just say I'm an anthropologist of the Russian Jews.
I'm an anthropologist of the Russian Jews. Yeah. Jews. I freaking love that.
Russian-speaking Jews. Okay?
Yeah.
Because I'm Ukrainian born, but
right.
we speak Russian. Right. But that's who I am. I'm really good at observing people, and I'm really good at also telling stories. And I only figured that out later on. But in the beginning, that's who I am. That's who I started. I started as a sort of a guy who wanted to be... I almost wanted to be an FBI, a CIA at one point. I wanted to go to West Point. Then I wanted to be a lawyer. Then I was doing maybe going to John Jay for criminal justice and all that stuff. And then I
could totally see stumbled in that space.
Yeah, stumbled again, on acting, and I'm like, maybe go film school. After film school, I'm like, okay, let's start to make some projects. Bought myself a camera, and the rest is history.
Wow.
And the best thing I would say that I learned during that beginning process was working for free is the best thing.
Okay, interesting. So let's talk about that, right? So let's take it back for a second. You were born in Ukraine.
Yeah.
When did you come to America? How old were you?
1.
Oh, okay. So you were an infant. You were really little.
Little bit.
Okay. So I
went through the immigration. Okay. Austria 1 month, Italy 6 months, came here.
Interesting. Yeah. It's so interesting because a lot of people had the same kind of trajectory. Like my dad also did that, then Italy. So very interesting. So basically you were born and raised then. Well, not born, but you were raised in America. So you accidentally fell into acting. Tell me a little bit about that. How was that an accident?
I used to love doing prank calls growing up. Huge love. I remember Lawrence Jacobson from Z100 prank call, the marijuana prank call.
Yes.
You come to my office. R.I.P. to his dad. I heard he passed away a few years ago. Really? I just found out. Wow. But I used to love that the prank calls, and I was really good at it. I naturally was good at improv looking back now.
Yeah.
And it started off with prank calls and just being a clown. Did some couple of classes. I took piano classes. I did saxophone and stuff like that. And then the next thing you know, that's what happened. It was just I started acting.
Wow.
I just started acting with my friend. We signed up for Craigslist ads for different things. We signed up for an agency that was actually not a scam. It was a website that you could have were in NYU film school program, short films and stuff like that, and different programs that they had that you can just theater thing. Columbia had one, NYFO, New York Film Academy.
And you found all this on Craigslist?
On Craigslist. I found this on this website that I found through Craigslist. It was this agency that was a free site. It was called castingnetworks.com or something like that back then.
Interesting.
And I started auditioning for little short films and finding out where the casting calls are, and then you just talk with people, actors, real good actors who care about each other. They share.
And you had no prior education in regards to acting classes or anything like that. Wow, good for you.
Nothing. I did a couple of improv classes, but it was just at the local shorefront Brooklyn location.
Yeah.
And musical stuff. I did take classes when I was younger because I wanted to sing. Mm-hmm. I had a vocal coach that taught me how to breathe. That's the only thing, but I was nothing to do with acting.
That's
it was just
so interesting.
Actually an accident.
Wow, who would have thought on Craigslist there would be something legit like that?
And in that moment, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I realized I have to follow whatever is feeling right. And that's where that gut feeling is. It is true. There's something, like, it felt right. It felt right to go into the acting. It felt easy. It felt welcoming. Getting into the film and, like, the fashion industry was so fun and, like, welcoming. And at the beginning, I didn't get money because I was just trying to just get a job and get to know people. And it just, I just felt like it was just maneuvering. But at one point, I had to recalibrate to Baba Fira, right?
Yeah.
2012, where I finally put myself in front of the camera instead of being behind the camera.
So when you were finding all these gigs through that website from Craigslist, that was you acting or being behind the camera?
That was just me acting.
That was you acting. Okay.
Yeah, interested in acting.
Got it. But then at one point you went behind the camera, like you just mentioned, right?
After I went to film school, went to Brooklyn College Film School, learned the basics, got my own camera, took out like one of those credit cards where you can get like 12 or 16 months, 0 interest.
Yep.
Got like a $4,500 camera.
Wow.
Started putting on Craigslist when it was like still good. Like when it used to be Mandy.com back in the day. You can post like you have a videographer. Started doing like whatever I can get. Like fashion shoots, music videos. I had no idea what I was doing. But I would have people who were like directors or like camera operators and stuff like that. Half the time I would operate and I would hire other people to like figure it out.
Yeah, to help you.
So like and that's why in the beginning I didn't want to charge too much because like I was learning as well.
So it's almost like they would have to take a risk on you, but you knew, of course, because like that's just who you are. Like you'll make sure you get it done, and you at least had some of that training going to film school. So like you were able to figure that out.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that one of the best things you learned at your time of like just getting started in this whole industry was doing things for free.
Yeah.
Why was that? Was that because you feel like you were able to get all that experience and you just wanted to get a job, or like tell me a little bit more about
There's no
why
expectations.
That was. Okay.
Right? Like in the beginning when you're starting in the crafts, I feel like on the artist crafts, you feel like you're undervalue yourself. And I still to this day I feel like sometimes I undervalue myself and my cost and how much I want to charge someone or whatever I'm doing. Right? And you feel a little insecure in the beginning. So the least you can do is like, you know what, I'm okay to just try it out.
To get the experience.
Yeah, get the exposure, get in the door, see if it even feels right. You know, that's what I love about my brother Dennis. You know him. He's a young brother.
We love Dennis.
Yes, Dennis. He's done like, he went to a vet. He was volunteering at a vet office. He was volunteering at a real estate office. He was volunteering at then he started working at a law office. I love that like aspect. He reminds me a little bit about myself. Like, just try it out. You never know where you're
Get your feet wet and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And you were lucky enough that one of the first places you got your feet wet was a place that really stuck for you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me a lot of like Ryan, for example, right? Like you guys both like genuinely love what you do. And like you guys have that gut feeling that like this is it. This is your industry. This is who you are. And I feel like that's pretty rare. I really do. I feel like not everyone could find that, especially so quickly off the bat. So it's pretty incredible that you did. It's actually really remarkable.
Yeah, I don't know where it comes from, but I do like people.
Yeah.
I like people. I go in a room with intention that I'm going to like this person. And that's the difference because I see sometimes, because I staffed like many trips with the Birthright.
We're going to get into it. That's
and
good stuff.
You see some people who are like, not a fan of people. And maybe they don't know how to deal with people. And like, I really know how to like talk with people with any walks of life.
And how to connect with people very easily. Because you're also really approachable.
Yeah.
You're very approachable.
Yeah.
Which is I still think it's, this whole like concept of you being here still is like so crazy to me because I'm saying how approachable you are because you are, but I distinctly remember my sister and grandma was on the boardwalk. I sent you a picture of this. This is like years ago. And you were there as Baba Fira.
Yes,
and like, I remember my sister was like, I was so nervous to like go up to him and take a picture, but I did. And it's so funny that like now knowing you personally, like, of course, like you're the most approachable person there is. It's just the whole dichotomy of who you are is really incredible.
Thank you.
It really is. So let's get into that because we know a lot of people know you as Baba Fira. That's how I first knew you and grew to love you. And I know at least in my household, every time a video dropped, it was like a huge thing. We would all watch it. It was the best of the best, like absolutely. So just give a little bit of an overview. Who is Baba Fira? What is it? Just give us a little bit of a background for those that don't know.
I mean, Baba Fira was just that point in my life where I decided to finally put myself in front of the camera. And I was like, you know what, enough. I've been always hired at that point to do professional commercials I was working for Spiegel, clothing brand, and I was working for different designers and creating little documentaries. And at that point, I'm like, I'm going to put myself in front of the camera. It's time. I came into this industry to be an actor, and it maneuvered me through being this person. And it, like, because that happened, and I was still going to the goal where I wanted to be, but I was also trying to pay the bills and like,
for sure,
right, and support myself. And I, like, after a certain age, my parents did not provide any money for me. I was supporting myself, and I was very happy and very grateful for that moment. But at that point, Baba Fira was just like an accident. It was just BuzzFeed at the time posted a video about like shit New Yorkers said, and I'm like, and then FouseyTube, who like blew up after that shit Drake said. And then this other guy, I forgot his name. I don't want to mess it up. He did shit Puerto Rican said. It was like a heavier set guy. He goes, that's it. I need a man from Westchester to pay for my boobs and my ass. I don't know if you remember that. Yes. I remember what's the guy's name. It was a YouTube video.
Yes.
I don't know if he's still around. And I'm like, oh my God. And at that point, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do Russian girls say. And I was close with my younger cousin and her friends. And I started thinking again like a producer. And I'm like, hold up. I can do the grandma voice. People already know me by the grandma voice because I like did prank calls that were viral on MySpace. People in like the community where my grandma grew up in Oceana knew I did prank calls with my friend Steve, and we did these pranks, and I would do babushka, like a stuttering babushka. And,
wait, that's incredible.
And I'm like, my life is interesting because I can spin it about my life. Being an actor at 18, that I told my family I want to be an actor, and it was a true story, and that whole video is just like my life. I literally laid it out, and I literally laid it out for like my friends on Facebook, thinking like I'm gonna make a fool out of myself, but YOLO, it's gonna be for my friends.
Yeah.
And then I woke up to 15,000 views overnight, and that's where Baba Fira happened. And it was one of the few times in my life I like was vulnerable. I was not excited. I was anxious. I just edited it and released it. And me and my co-star, Ari Barkin, and my friend Alex Stotskin, the camera guy and co-writer, went to Starbucks, and my phone just started blowing up.
Wow. And this was what year?
This 2012, February
2012.
And then it was just like, that's it. And it was interesting because like now like I'm really good friends with Eric Tabak, which you met.
Yep, love him.
I love him. And he works with... Yes Theory on YouTube. Amazing guys. I got to meet a few of the guys. And they have this slogan, seek discomfort.
Yes.
And that's what I realized after like different quotes float around. Like I realized I love seeking discomfort.
You thrive off of that. Which is amazing. Like that's
but not
really
making anyone else uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Seeking my own discomfort.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. Like how vulnerable I was in front of that camera, in front of my own friends. My grandma left for 2 hours, and that video happened, and it's crazy. It's just beautiful. And then redoing it again with the mom character, that was huge to me. When I did it with Eric, when we did it at Brian Bazaar, R.I.P. I don't think it exists anymore, right?
I don't believe so.
And redoing it with the mom character in a similar style, and the dad character. It was just like nice because I'm like, okay, it's not just Baba Fira. I got something.
You fully evolved it.
Yeah.
And for those that don't fully understand, right, you basically impersonate a Russian babushka named Baba Fira. Yeah. And if you know like the Russian speaking community across the United States, right, but specifically at least like at this time, like it was in the New York area, there's so many hilarious, like purely hilarious intricacies and like ways of speaking and all these things, like hilarious videos, and you would do different concepts like with that character, and now you've evolved it to different characters within a Russian American community, like you said, the mom and all these things, and it's just that evolution, and it's still funny. Like you really know how to impersonate, but also do it in a very tasteful way, which I think is really important to call out, right? Because when you're talking about a culture and a demographic, right, like that could get a little sticky, and the way you do it is just not only hilarious, but just in such good taste. And I feel like that's something really hard to do as an actor. I'm not an actor, but I feel like that definitely has to be something that's hard.
Yeah. I think we're all actors. We're all playing a role. But like, I think you're right. You hit it right on the thing. Like, I realized when I used to watch old school like videos from Nasha Rasha and all those like shows from Russia, amazing shows. I thought they were hilarious, but they depict the characters in an embarrassing way, I feel like. And when I wanted to do whatever I was creating, I never wanted the person who was going to be associated with this character to be embarrassed to be associated with them. Like, if they send it to Babushka or show it to Babushka, I never wanted the Babushka to be like, you know, and then obviously there are going to be some people, but my intention was never to embarrass. Like, especially when I did the Yana video. That was the first time.
That's like the sister of the family, right?
My daughter.
Daughter, yeah.
And I made the young girl video, and she's like the cliche girl who works at the medical office. And it's tough because now you're making fun of somebody who's your own age, right?
Right.
And you can feel
that already brings it down to another level.
Yeah, like you're making fun of grandparents, okay, you know, like it's an easy target. You're making fun of your parents, it's easy to like make fun of them, you know, they're like, ha ha ha, you know, get to work.
I never even thought of it like that, yeah.
But like here, it was tough. That was the only video I was very on point. Usually I do improv 24. Like the whole video is like, besides the like outline, is improv. With that Yana video, I knew exactly what I was saying.
Because I was going to ask you, like, are these things scripted or is it fully
They are scripted.
Okay.
But like, I don't write the exact, or like I write out, like, talk about this, talk about that.
But you're not saying like, you're not like verbatim memorizing lines. Yeah. It's what kind of.
Like a brainstorm.
You feel it out. Very interesting. And I also think it's really incredible to mention this too, right? The evolution of Baba Fira. It started out with just that character. Videos being hilarious, like all of them going viral, like insane. You really disrupted the community in such a good way where people were really able to resonate, especially because there is such a big population across the United States. Like it really was a huge wave. Then you evolved that, right, into the other characters. And then you also evolved that into helping other Russian businesses promote them through marketing efforts, right? Like you would create, just like you said, with Brighton Bazaar, with my husband's prior restaurant, right? You would come in, you would create like amazing, like brilliantly like concepted ideas to bring in those characters, whether it was Baba Fira, Yana, the dad, all these things. And you would create basically a small film that was, at the end of the day, promoting that business. Yeah. And I thought that was brilliant. The fact that even from a business perspective, that you were able to see that as an opportunity is incredible because you had all the leverage, right? You already had the audience. You already know people resonate. Those businesses, right, they want to socialize and get their name out there. And you were just like the perfect storm of all that. So that was really incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible. And it also happened by accident, you know? It's just like, I realized the more you give, the more you get returned.
Yeah.
And I love helping these businesses.
You did a bunch. You did a liquor store.
Yeah,
right?
Liquor store, Brighton Bazaar, Forces of Nature, Tete-a-Tete.
Oh, right.
Oh my God, there's so many.
There's a lot.
I feel like bad.
There's a lot.
There's so many.
Yeah. But again, it's incredible because...
A lawyer.
Oh, really?
Like a ticket lawyer. There was like, and then I started utilizing them in Instagram videos. Like short form.
You would repurpose that content for multiple platforms.
Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah. So brilliant. And I still, till this day, I still cannot stop but think how impactful this whole Baba Fira concept was, and it still is, of course, to the Russian American community. So share a little bit about that. Like from your view as Baba Fira, like you in the flesh, what was the impact that you saw within the community once you started releasing these videos?
I mean, it was a couple of stages to it. It was how I envisioned it from what other people saw and then how I went through it. In the beginning, it was just like surreal. Like I felt like I was living in a fairy tale. Like I couldn't walk anywhere. Like people would ask pictures. And
like you were the local celebrity.
Yeah. And I felt beyond grateful because I was once, you know, working background on sets where people would run up to people. I remember once I was like working on a movie I don't remember, and I was like a soccer player in it. And there was people who noticed me playing soccer in the movie and they started yelling Baba Fira.
No way.
And the other main actor was like, "You're making me look bad." I don't remember the name of the actor or the movie, but I mean, it was surreal. And it was very after, you know, it's not easy coming from my community. I can't speak on other people's communities, but like coming up from the Russian Jewish like community, it's tough.
Yeah.
I bet on myself, right? Everyone was sort of against me except my mom and my sort of stepdad, and like everyone sort of like believed in me, was trying to help me out, and my parents were helping me out, and my dad helped me out with like headshots and like getting all this stuff. But I feel like they didn't really believe in it until like I really like, you know, started. I wasn't driving the car automatic. I was driving it stick shift.
Yeah.
And like betting on myself, and it worked out. It really worked out. And after Baba Fira, that first year, I was just like, oh my God, I have to like be careful what I say, because it actually has meaning now. And it always has meaning, but now like people are waiting for what I'm going to do next. And like everything that I do actually matters, because what I'm saying is affecting a lot of people. Like that video has like, I think over 500, maybe 600,000 views, which is, you know, not crazy, but like in our whole community, we're not big at all.
Right.
And it's just the immigrants that I was like pretty much targeting that were interested in this. And then what happened was I went to Birthright right after that next year.
Really? So this is 2013?
2013. And it came full circle for me of like being connected and being understanding what it means to be a Russian-speaking Jew and what I created and what meaning it has. And I always had issues with my identity. I didn't grow up with a family who was like had Shabbat at all. We were not religious at all. We had pork all the time. My mom doesn't still believe in like God. She does believe in just being a good person all the time, and karma and all this stuff, and always saying like you treat the way people the way you want to be treated. And it was a nice way to realize, because sometimes I always thought like the Jewish and Orthodox Jews were always sort of against me or looked down on me. But then when I actually started to get invited to do a bunch of these beautiful like Purim parties, those are the communities that were inviting me to come perform for their communities. So it was actually not they were judging me, I was judging myself. And that was the beauty of Baba Fira to me, and that was the gift. Baba Fira was a gift to me of realizing who I am and being comfortable in my skin.
Wow. That is so powerful, Gary.
I'm sorry.
No, that's so powerful, because if you think about it, right, you were able to get into your own skin and realize who you were through a character that you created. Like that is so interesting and powerful, because that's not something I think that is an easy thing to do at all by any means. And you have that layer, right, that cultural layer in there that heightens the stakes, I guess I could say. So that's really incredible. It really is. And again, I personally can speak to the other side, right, the consumer's perspective on how you really shifted and resonated with so many people in the community, is that there was finally someone that people could look up to that could actually really personify not just the funny things, but also the real things that happen within the community and that happen in the day-to-day. And to me, that's the impact that you had for so many people, is all these people came OTB, off the boat, right, to a new country. They still have their old ways and all these things, and the way that you were able to personify that for people in a land that is still foreign to them, even if they've been here for 40 years, right? It's not where they are from, right? And you were just able to give everyone something so relatable, and also to show other generations below those original immigrants like myself, the first generations, all those different intricacies. So you had an impact in that way to millions of people, but then you also had such a powerful impact on you yourself. Like, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
That really is, Gary.
I like that phrase. That's beautiful.
It is
my favorite phrase. Because when you say it, it is truly beautiful.
It is. You had impact on two directions, and both in very big ways. In very big ways. And you were the first within the community to do anything like that, right?
Yeah.
And to bring people together in that way, through laughter, through being relatable, through all these things, and also being the first local celebrity. Like, that's also a responsibility too, right?
100%.
Like, those are big shoes that you were filling, right? Like, I still think about my little sister, I think she was like 6 years old at the time, who was nervous to approach Baba Fira on the Brighton Beach boardwalk, right? Like, you had little kids looking up to you. And then you also have the babushki, and it's just the whole
stories go on.
It's it's so crazy how amazing of an impact you had
through an accident of a character.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And it's nice because like after becoming an actor at sort of 18, 19, and that happened to me when I was like 24, I was like struggling for those 6 years, like scrapping, doing videos that I was figuring out that I didn't want to do, but I wanted to do and try them out. And like finally creating something that just felt like it was a milestone.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Getting my like first speaking role was not a milestone. Getting into the Screen Actors Guild was not really a milestone.
Yeah, that's a huge milestone though. Like let's like say that. Like, that's really incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible at the time, but it didn't feel like it. But Baba Fira, I felt that.
Because it felt like your own.
I felt our community came together a little bit.
It did. That's the impact. Yeah.
When the communities come together, it's the most beautiful thing ever. And that's why I preach community. Like, in terms of like, you know, supporting each other. And that's why like I see all these small businesses and we always like to go to like a little like yummy spots to like try and share and stuff like that. And that's what our community is about, is all these like little hole in the walls that cost nothing.
Right.
You go to some of these Italian restaurants and these sushi omakase places, you're paying like a leg and an arm. You tell your parents how much you pay for like 10 pieces of sushi. You're like secondhand, and then you gift them the experience. My brother recently, and my parents, was it my parents' anniversary or my dad's birthday? He got him omakase experience, and they went like, we had a good time. I'm like, oh, now you like it? Yeah. But how has it been this, you know, like this is episode
This is going to be 17.
17, 18.
17
How has the
is your
process
birthday. We're going to
been
do
going for you?
I'll say it's so crazy because I genuinely came in with zero expectations. Like Gary, I had zero. I was like, I know for sure 2 people are going to listen. I know my mom is going to listen and my dad's going to listen. I was like, I know 2 people will listen. My husband, whatever, like all these other like people, like, yeah, they'll listen. But like I knew for a fact these 2 people will listen. And I was like, I'm doing it honestly just for one person to resonate. Let it be my mom to resonate, but one person just to resonate on this concept. And with that being said, I went in not thinking I was going to drop episodes every week. I went in with a plan, in quote plan. It's really not like a Gabby standard plan.
She had a plan.
Yeah, a plan. That was an episode every 2 weeks.
Ooh, nice.
After my first episode, and I saw the feedback, and I saw the response, and I saw the listens.
So you released it right away?
I released one.
Wow.
Yeah, January 18th I released. And literally that day, I have never had my phone blow up before. From people, of course, like my family, close friends, it was so amazing. But from people that I haven't heard from or spoken to in years, like people out of the woodworks, people I don't even know, that reached out to my parents to get my phone number. Like, it was wild. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, people resonated with that first episode. And as you know, right, when you do one thing, it's not going to be your best work. Like, that was, half of it was scripted. It was my first time recording anything. So it wasn't even good, or at least in my standards. And I already had that impact. So I was like, okay, you know what? I want to keep this momentum. So I woke up the next morning and was like, I'm going to release them every week. Not prepared to do so at all. I had guests that were booked in advance, but not to accommodate a weekly drop. But I somehow figured it out. And I think in general, like when you ask how it's going like that. Like I'm winging it. I'm so winging it. And you know me, like I don't wing things. Like that's not my character. But it's working very well for the podcast. So I'm sticking with it.
Snaps.
Thank you. I'm winging it. And I'm taking a page out of my husband's book and I'm just going to let things happen as they happen and we'll see. But I will say for sure, and we'll get into Birthright, but this summer we were all on a trip to Israel. And I remember it was me, you, and Mishka, who was another staffer on the Birthright trip. And she was talking to me about her podcast. You were talking about all the work you do. And I was sitting there and I was like, I have such incredible resources and people to look up to in this space. I need to do this. Like it would be a disservice to myself and to potentially people that will resonate with this concept. So I have to say you were a very, very big reason why I actually finally took the step to do it.
Yay.
Seriously.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, because I had this idea. I've had this concept for years, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And I know what I want to do with it, but a lot of those things are big investments and all that. So I was like, let me at least start with a podcast. And it was really because I saw the great work that you and others were doing. So I thank you for that.
You belong.
You think so?
You fit right in. Because, your husband was on the trip. Yes. And you met us when we were doing Shabbat and a couple of the dinners when you were with family, and then you came down for the dinner, and you fit in. You blended right in. But yet people have to accept you. Mm-hmm. But like when you come in, you just like everyone was just like so welcoming. That I remember sitting, because we usually like to sit with the tour guide Sasha and Mishka by ourselves just to like unwind and just talk about what's happening.
So for those that don't know, Birthright, because I feel like some people might get confused if they don't know, not to cut you off,
no.
Birthright is a 10-day trip that allows individuals that are of Jewish descent or background or identify as a Jew to go on a free 10-day trip to Israel. And it is literally the most amazing 10 days of your life.
Literally.
Like the experiences, the people you meet, like the country itself, it's incredible.
Wonderful.
And we'll get into how you got into staffing trips, but Gary staffs trips and does an amazing job for Birthright. So I was able to at least be in bits and bobs of one of the trips this summer that my brother, my husband, my cousin. It's actually like a lot of Sapaznik Strass energy there.
Yeah. Your brother was on the trip.
Yeah, and my cousin.
He's so wonderful.
Thank you.
And your cousin.
Yeah, and their friend, Phil.
Yes.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, sorry. So I just wanted to give everyone an overview of what Birthright even is, but continue.
I mean, you're just, I don't know how you have it. I don't know what you have. But you have something. You have this energy that I can't explain to other people. I can't even explain it to myself.
Right now.
No, but you have this like calmness to you. Like, I love how calm you are. It makes me calm. Right? I'm excited for you and being here with you. Like, I've done so many podcasts, but like I am thrilled to be in my friend's podcast. That makes me more happy and more thrilled. And it's just like, I don't know where these conversations are going to go. I look up to like Joe Rogan and all these huge guys and call her daddy. I watched her stuff. But like,
love Alex Cooper.
But like I've been on many podcasts with other people, and you're great. You're so.
You.
And look, if you guys can see her, you better watch the video version of this, because if I was a babushka, I'm like, ой, хорошая, красивая, понимаешь, посмотри, как она выглядит.
You need to give like me a good Russian babushka rating. Like
10 из 10. 10 out of 10.
Спасибо.
Волосы, everything, понимаешь? No, I'm not. I don't like to give. One thing about me, I hate giving people compliments.
Really?
Because I don't like to receive compliments. But if I really want to say a compliment, I really like mean it.
Wow.
Like I really like, I'm not going to like really say, like if somebody smells good, I'm like, you smell, what is that smell?
Yeah.
Most of the time when people ask me what I'm wearing, I'm like, I don't tell them.
You gatekeep.
I'm like, yeah.
Gary's a gatekeeper.
I don't tell them. My friend Jeff, I think you met him once, no? He's like, hey, stop. Don't. I was about to make a meme because I started creating memes at once.
Yeah.
And
they were good.
I did like memes of like old school, like Russian papuchkas, like colognes that they used to use, Curve and all these like Versace.
Oh my gosh. The
like,
one with the
jeans.
The bottle that has like the man's outline with like the abs and everything. You know what I'm talking about?
Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Yes.
And all that stuff. But then I was going to do like an updated version. I was going to do an updated version of what everyone's wearing now. And I was like, I always send my like stuff to Jeff or like my brothers before I view, or even when I'm shooting my YouTube videos, I like have like a viewing party with my brothers and my mom and like a FaceTime, and I show them a cut before it gets released. And it's interesting. I don't know why I'm going on tangent here, but like I take notes of where they laugh. And I'm like, okay, why do they laugh? Okay, I understand why they laugh. And
there's a lot of psychology that goes into this.
100%.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't release this one. They don't need to know. I never released the meme.
Everyone's going to be running into Bloomingdale's buying that cologne. None left for Baba Fira.
Yeah.
Wait, that's hilarious.
What do you have on now? Do you have any perfume on?
I do. I have Byredo Baldafreak on. It's my favorite. It's my favorite for like daily wear.
That's
like,
nice.
I won't wear it like out to like a wedding or something, but on a daily basis, I love it. And the packaging is like really chic. I love it.
Yes. I have a Super Cedar by it.
Really good. There's a couple that are really good.
Yeah, I like the woody ones.
Yeah. A little musky.
Yeah.
Really good. Ryan loves Versace Eros. I think that's what it is.
Smell that one.
It's really good. You'll have to smell Ryan one of these days.
Oh. Yes, please. He's amazing. This guy's working 24/7.
Yeah, it's like
so happy for him.
crazy.
You don't understand.
He's in a good spot. Thank God. Like, he's thriving. For those that haven't listened, listen to the 2 episodes that I have with Ryan. All about the story.
I just finished it.
You did? Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Thank you for the support.
Did you like a great voice. He's so good.
He is.
So calm and collected. He got ice in his veins. So you both got ice in your veins.
Thank you.
You guys are just, it was like a really good, because in certain podcasts, when I was listening to a few of the episodes, like everyone has different personalities.
Yeah, and I want your feedback. You also give me everything.
Guys have really good matched energies. Like,
thank you. I really appreciate that. And I have to say, and again, I have to credit this to you and everyone else that was on that birthright trip. That birthright trip did a lot for Ryan and I. Like, it really, really did. Because I think, one, we weren't together for like 10 days straight, right? I was with my family. You guys were on your birthright trip. But the way in which I saw Ryan with that group was next level. And then the way that group welcomed me was also next level.
I have goosebumps right now.
And it was like, I really can't even explain it. I have a video. I'll send it to you because it's wild. But it was so incredible. And I think that birthright trip was pivotal to both of us in pursuing what we're both pursuing now across the board, because of the Judaism, because of you and your direction, because of the people, like all of it together. It was really powerful.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, he was one of those people, like, I've staffed 17 trips already. It's just interesting.
Was it 17?
That was a 17th.
Yeah, 17 is the number. Gary, this is going to be the 17th episode. Like, that's
and Ryan was just like the unofficial, like, leader, like, as they call us, madrichim, mad riches.
And club promoter.
Club promoter. He was just, it was so nice to have him.
It was an incredible trip. So speaking of birthright, I want to know, how did you get into staffing birthright trips? What does that even mean? Like, what all goes into all of that?
That was an interesting story. That was an interesting story because what happened with me was right before birthright, I never ended up going with a bunch of my friends that when I wanted to go, either I was working or at a project or I couldn't go at the time. And I finally wanted to go. And I met this random girl through some friends. She's like, and we became like friends. She's like, you should come. I'm probably going to sign up. And she sent me the link and I sign up, and it's like, the process is sort of like 4 to 6 months prior to departure and stuff like that. I get casted on a movie called Nonstop with Liam Neeson, where I was like a featured background for the whole movie. So I signed a contract where he was on the plane. Do you remember that movie on the plane?
Yes. Wait, I need to rewatch it. And
I'll show you guys. I'm like just a background person there, but I was a background for the whole movie. So we were on set, and we had to sign a contract saying that we're going to be in this amount of days, and that there might be a possibility for reshoots.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. We start shooting that. Hurricane Sandy happens.
Oh my gosh.
So we get delayed a little bit. And we start shooting, like the set slightly got damaged because we were shooting somewhere like in Long Island City or something like that. But what happened was I was supposed to leave on a trip. I'm going to explain why I'm telling this story, because I was supposed to leave originally January 4th on Birthright, and I couldn't because we had to do reshoots because of Hurricane Sandy. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, I can't go on the trip. They're like, can you do a different day? I'm like, yeah, actually I can. I'm available after this day. Oh, we can actually just switch you over. There's an available spot on a different birthright trip that's leaving a week later.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I go. Mind you, I've been working on this production for 2.5 months. Like, I'm working 5 to 6 days a week on set. You know, we're getting fed amazing food. And I end up going on this trip, and we got super lucky with the weather. It was raining the whole time I was originally supposed to go.
No way.
It was 70 in January, and we were so lucky. I get to meet amazing people. What ended up happening midway through the trip? I get gastritis. Because I was on set for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And my body is not used to eating steak every single day, and they feed you well on these sets. I was not taking care of my body properly. I was not eating enough veggies that I was supposed to. I was eating a lot of fried food. Mm-hmm. You know, like, imagine eating out every single time. I get a gastritis, end up in a hospital. In Israel I ended up with an IV for half a day. Like I was laying in the thing. I thought they were going to fly me back. And most of the time, like I would either like one day, half of the day I stayed in the hotel and I just slept. I was just in awful pain. It felt like I had my appendix. It was just pain that just didn't go away and it just has to naturally go away. And pretty much I missed out on half of my birthright trip. I didn't see Yad Vashem. I didn't go up Masada. I missed out on different activities. Yeah. Certain activities where we have like different sessions where we talk. I'm like in pain. Like I remember we had to like these dilemmas that they give us. I don't even want to get into it because it's like that's a whole different topic. Yeah. And I missed out on my experience. I had an amazing experience. And the guy who's a tour guide is from the same town from where I'm from in Ukraine, Kharkov. And I love him. Seryoja Polichuk. He became like my best friend and like I have a stepdad. He became like my third papachka. aka best friend. He doesn't like that I call him papachka, but like he's like, I'm your friend. What are you doing? So I decide I want to go back because I missed out.
Yeah.
And I sign up and I'm like already Baba Fira. This is a year after Baba Fira. I'm like, I post on my Facebook page. At the time, it was like really popular. And I'm like, hey, there's like a way you could have came back through like signing up through referrals, where if you sign up 10 people that actually go, you can become a staff member, and they put you through training, and they like team you up with another girl because it's usually a boy and girl that team up. So this way, you know, like, and they team me up with an amazing girl who I still talk to, Annie Veckler, and we become great friends, and she starts becoming my mentor, and they give me different workshops that I'm supposed to do, and I sign up. And I put out the link. I want to do a thing. I get a call in about like a couple of hours later. Are you some kind of hacker? Hack me? I hate editing. Like I hate being in front of the computer. You know, I'm usually like a TV guy. I would never watch TV, like shows on the computer. I'm like, no. She's like, our systems are down. So supposedly when I posted this,
you crashed their site.
Too many people started signing up. End up 360 people signed up. 167 went that summer because of me. Wow. And that changed my life in terms of like what I can do and how many people signed up. And I was like, oh my God. And I only needed, and now they said they had like a thing where if you get more than 10, you get money. So now for the rest of the 157 people, I got paid for it.
You were the first influencer.
And I got paid. And I got paid.
With an affiliate link.
I got paid to like promote a free trip that I wanted to go on.
Right.
And I went on it and I fell in love. And I went during the war, 2014.
Wow, really?
I don't know if you remember, there was like a...
Yeah, they still had trips during that time?
They did have trips. Mm-hmm. And my dad was like, you're not going. I'm like, I'm going. I was shitless scared, but I'm going. He's like, okay, if you go in the morning, we have to go to the rabbi and they have to do a prayer for you. And they did a prayer and I was holding as if I had another bar mitzvah. And I had to hold that huge, like whatever the thing's called. I don't know. The Torah, like the big Torah from the... Is it Torah? It was like, is that called Torah? That huge?
Yeah.
It was like more than a Torah. It was like a whole bag of like a velour thing. Yeah, I don't want to disrespect
it's like the casing.
I'm not educated in this stuff too much. And it was just insane. And I ended up going on the trip and I never stopped after that. And now...
So you became like a permanent staffer.
Yeah, I became like a recruiter. I became a madrich. I started signing up for different leadership that Birthright provided to learn and different sessions. And there's like amazing retreats called Limud they do for RSJ. I was part of Moishe House. I was part of like a bunch of the cohort the Birthright does to like learn you. They teach you how to be a leader. And I loved it.
So a lot of leadership training that you could take to other areas of your life and other fields.
And it was beautiful. It's really nice. The focal point of it is just stories. And that's what I do with... So it was just beautiful, and I really loved...
Perfect match.
Because at one point, Baba Fira started becoming more, and I started working more.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to knock on wood. All the Russian-American Jews over here.
Where's the wood? I don't see it over here. Here's wood there.
Your head works.
But it was nice because what Birthright provided me, another gift, besides Baba Fira, was I got to turn off my phone and be present with the people. Usually it's 40 people on the bus. And it was just, I like to like now be in control of the pace that I go at.
Yeah. Well, because you were go for so many years.
So many years.
Like people have to understand, like you were and are a like celebrity figure, you know, and like you were keeping up with that and videos and all of the other things you were doing. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I'm sure having those 10 days was like.
So, yeah, that was my experience. And
wow.
You were actually, a lot of people don't know, you were supposed to potentially touch, if Mishka couldn't, you were supposed to staff that trip. But I'm happy that you still end up being on it.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. Hopefully we'll staff maybe in the future.
Gary, I would love to. You're talking about all the leadership, different trainings that Birthright does. I would love to be a part of it. We'll have to talk after because I would love to do something like that.
It's such an amazing community and...
it really is. And I will note, right, the trips that you're referring to specifically are ones for those that are Russian and Jewish, which that adds a whole other layer because in
the beginning, it wasn't. I was just a recruiter. Really? And then I started doing my own trips only exclusively for the Russian
Got you. Okay. That's good to clarify because when I originally did Birthright through my university, that was through Penn State Hillel, seeing the amazing impact Birthright had on my husband Ryan and my brother, being on a Russian Jewish trip was night and day. I had an amazing time on mine, but it was definitely a different experience than what I saw this summer through you guys. And it's incredible. The fact, again, I think it ties back to like that Baba Fira impact, right? When you're around people that come from similar situations, similar stories, similar backgrounds, especially within a culture that has its good, has its bad, and also has such like distinct qualities. And you bring people all together in that aspect and on a spiritual trip, like you add all these on top of each other, it creates magic. And I know that these young adults walked away with a huge, huge, huge change in perspective, or not even a change necessarily, but just such appreciation for those 10 days.
Yeah. And friends, just new friends. It's
for sure.
I see Gabby now all the time. I go to Montreal.
Amazing.
And it's just so many beautiful people. I love the project. It's just an amazing thing.
It really is. And even when I came that night to say hi on Shabbat, and again, the way I was greeted, I was shocked anyone even there knew my name besides you and Ryan and my brother. But it was insane. And I remember
the respect.
Gary, no, it was crazy.
I felt like you came in like Mother Teresa.
Gary.
Everyone was like kissing your hands. I'm like, what? Why are these kids not kissing my hands? Kiss my hands. I moisturize. They have Lalabo in these things. Like smell them. And I was just like, wow. You like floated into that room.
Gary, it's still one of like the most pivotal moments in my life. I don't even know how that happened. I'm so grateful. But if I had to guess,
she's like, hello.
And mind you, I was in a car for like 2 hours because I was coming from like South Israel. Yeah. And if I have to guess what it feels like to be a celebrity, I feel like in that moment. But I don't say all this to be all like, whatever. Again, the way that this trip was, and this was also like such a big thing for Ryan, the fact people knew who I was because of Ryan, because Ryan was constantly talking about his wife, which amazing compliment. Like that was so sweet. Oh, yeah, he has like this girl, she's like a nice Jewish girl, and JG, but whatever. So
keep going. I want to see what else do you think about yourself in third person?
No, I have to say when you said I have calm energy, thank you, because inside does not feel like that 90% of my life. So I really appreciate that. But anyway, like that was so pivotal because I walked in there because my husband was advocating for me. Like that was amazing. But I'm trying to like collect why I even brought it up to begin with. I remember that night when we were standing doing, I think it was the Havdalah outside of the hotel.
Yeah.
And I saw all those people that were on the trip. Now I know it was like 40. And I was like, oh my gosh, Gary recruited 40 people. Like he had to know, or someone had to know, and like that you had that impact. And I knew that this wasn't your first rodeo. I didn't know it was your 17th, but your reach is incredible. And at that moment, I remember I even said to Ryan, I'm like, Ryan, like Gary, like did all this? Like he coordinated this. He got all these people together. Like what a pull he has. Like it was just so amazing that through the work you do, you created multiple communities. You are a big reason why people foster relationships that they have, and also a big reason why people resonate with Judaism and Israel. That is something that should not go unnoticed, Gary. Like, that is incredible
100%.
that you've done that.
I appreciate it. But we also have the best community. I'm just showcasing our community. As much as I'm bringing people together, the only reason it's working is because we're so rich in our culture.
We are.
It's us. Like, I'm not really, I'm just facilitating and just like, I'm bringing people together. But it's us who are like so depth for like, from like the superstitions that we can talk about. Like,
let's knock on all the wood.
Knock on the wood and all this stuff. And like to the food, to the, some people call it trauma, you know?
Yeah.
But like for me, I always thought like growing up that my mom, like I was, my mom traumatized me the way she spoke to me about like how I was growing up and like who I wanted to be. But she was just actually just giving me constructive criticism. Realized after when I became Baba Fira, I realized I had like, you know, that moment that some people,
an epiphany.
Yeah. When people say they like see like their like last moments in death, I saw and I rekindled everything that like my mom and my stepdad, who I majority grew up with because my parents are divorced. And I realized they were never against me. They were just like pushing me. They're like, you told me by 2 years you're going to be here. And it was little like, you know, and I till this day, like very grateful to my mom and stepdad and my real biological dad, but I don't really talk to him anymore. And I wish that family all the best, you know, like all the best. Yeah. At one point, we get to pick who our family is. And you're my family.
Gary, and, back at you, seriously.
No, you are. You know, you have this thing and like, it resonates with me a lot of like, you know, I recently was writing. And
I love that you write a lot.
I can't be around people who have low lows and high highs. I have to gradually, I'm the kind of person that like, I'm chill and then let's elevate. Let's go up. Let's go dance. Let's go party. Let's go club. Yeah. But it doesn't happen like sporadic. Yep. Right? But there are some people who are just like, let's go here. Let's go there. Drop of a dime. And you just like, you like your energies. I'm just like very sensitive to the energies. And you just have that even if you're here, right? And you're like, it's very important to me for a person and whatever the factor is. I think the most important factor a human should have is controlling who they are in a situation and knowing what situation is happening.
And what's right for them.
Yes. And being nice to people, like joke, but don't be mean. Yep. Right? Right? And like you have this ability of like being even more even keel than I will ever be. I can't be that. And you have that ice.
Thank you.
So I want to like whatever water.
I know, l'chaim.
For you.
Well, technically it's a superstition, right? Another Russian superstition to cheers with water.
Yeah. It's okay.
Isn't it great? Like, it's so wild because like, do we even believe in that? Like, it's just based off of what we've been told for years and years and years from generation to generation within our community. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's so beautiful that we get to pick our friends.
Yeah.
And it's so important that like you have to pick your friends. Don't feel like you're stuck in this thing. I feel like a lot of people like feel obligated because they know their friends for a long time.
Or they try to get political and like
all this stuff. Just be with people and be friends with people that you want to be around. And I want to be here. You know, like I'm out of here not because it's convenient. I'm here because I want to be here, and I will reschedule my schedule to be there.
You're the best.
And like I'm wishing the best. I mean, we're not done with this podcast.
No, not yet.
But like I'm so happy for you. I'm like happy that we're in this moment.
Gary, I really appreciate it because honestly, like you asked me earlier how the podcast is going. Like it does feel a little bit lonely sometimes because like I don't know, I'm not close with a lot of people that have their own podcast or that are entering the social media space, even though billions of people are in it and have done it. There's space for everyone, but I'm not like as intertwined with a lot of these people. But you are one of them. And the fact that, and obviously we're good friends, but even when I was like, okay, I want to pitch to Gary for Gary to come on, like I was nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is Gary. This is Baba Fira. Like he's been on a lot of podcasts. Like I want to make sure that this is worth his while. And I say all that because no one's obligated to do anything. No one's obligated to be friends with one another. And I really feel and value that what you bring to the table as a friend, as someone in this space, as someone I look up to across the board, genuinely has a heart of gold. And I think that is just, it's incredible, especially knowing what you've been through, all of the craziness and all of the amazing things. Like, you've stayed so humble. You really have. And that is a big reason why I know our friendship works. And I'm just very grateful for it too.
Yeah, I try.
No, you're the
Sometimes
best.
we become that humble and you're like, I asked for medium rare. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
I have moments, but like I try.
Everyone
I try
does.
to,
Listen,
yeah.
everyone has moments.
I have my Sveta moments.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure that we link like some of the highlight videos. People like really understand all of this. And for those that might not be Russian, might not be Jewish, like Baba Fira is just, it's funny across the board. And like you'll learn something about the community and the culture. So.
Yeah, it's sort of, and it's interesting because a lot of people who like don't understand Russian well, like I watch your videos all the time. I have no idea what you're saying, but like I love it. I understand it. Like it reminds me of my grandma. I literally tapped into somebody's like, our grandmas are the most precious people in most people's lives. The ones who are very grateful to be to have experienced having a babushka. And I definitely tapped into something that's very sacred and precious.
No, for sure. And everyone relates to it. Like,
how was your relationships with your babushka? Sorry,
amazing.
I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. I'm amazing. And I'm so, so grateful. I really am. And with my grandma from my mom's side, she, like, we would always watch the Baba Fira videos together. And she would be, like, cackling, like, hilarious. And it's, I mean, Baba Fira is my babushka. Like, exactly. And it's so funny because even a couple weeks ago, and you mentioned it too, right? Like, there's pros and cons of every culture and everything is amazing. But I have to say, like, the Russian community, like, are opinionated and, like, they will say stuff without thinking and, like, especially when it comes to your appearance and all this stuff. And it's just so funny because over the past few months, myself and, like, my sister-in-law were talking about this, but we've noticed that, like, our babushki are, like, being really Russian in their opinions towards us about how we look and all this stuff. And it's just every time that comes up, I'm automatically thinking about Baba Fira and like all the skits that you've done around it. And it's just a direct parallel. So it's really funny. But yeah, my relationship is really good. And there's almost everything in Baba Fira is what I see in them. So it's so crazy. It really is.
You know
it's
what's
wild.
interesting about you I'm thinking about now?
What?
I'm like, we're both older siblings.
Yeah. The oldest.
I'm like out of 3 biological, and then my mom adopted a boy and girl from Russia years ago. Love them so much, but like I'm also like, but in the beginning it was just 3 of us, right? Yep. And you're 3.
Yep.
Right? You're the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
My second one, Nick, is a doctor. Your brother. Engineer. Can we say engineer? So I feel like in a way, like it takes the pressure off of us as like, listen, you already got your engineer, you already got your doctor.
So let's talk about that
because that's
for a
interesting
second.
Dynamic.
That is a very interesting dynamic because of our culture. Previously, right? Like this, I don't want to say anything, but like previously, right? Before modern day, if you're Russian and Jewish, you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer. Like, see ya, like. Exactly. No, exactly. And I feel like...
Which means like complete.
Yeah. Like
Degen.
You're degenerate. Yeah. That Russian word is similar to English.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like you and I and like our generation, we started to try to break away from that mold a little bit. And that's difficult, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. My sister's on the track. My brother's an engineer. Has all the time. You know what I mean? And it doesn't take away from our success or where we will go.
Yes.
But in our culture, that is the norm or what people usually think. And I feel like now with where society is going, that wall is being broken down. And I feel like you and I respectfully in our own areas, but like you said, as the oldest, we've had to like take risks to start breaking down that wall.
Mm-hmm.
We really have. And it's pretty cool to now look on the other end and be like, wow, like I might not be a doctor, I might not be a lawyer, but I'm still respected in our Russian and Jewish community. Like you're Baba freaking Fira, like hello, like, you know? So like I really feel like our generation and the work that you've done and are doing is starting to really break down a lot of some of the not so amazing things that, or let's not say that, the old school things.
Yes.
And that mentality of a lot of immigrants in America.
And there's nothing wrong to be a lawyer or a
no, it's
doctor.
amazing. Like,
I think it's beautiful,
to you.
but I think and it's hard going both ways. My mom did research. She worked in downstate.
Nice.
Did research on diabetes and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and in pancreas with like mice and stuff like that, and she worked with like in a medical school, downstate medical school, but she worked under a professor, and she's like, Garik, it's not for you.
Yeah.
She's like, she's seen those students. I'm not that student. And it was nice. The weight came off my shoulder.
Mhm.
When I had my mom, it was like, it's okay not to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank God.
You don't need to conform with our community and culture. Like,
even though I knew,
yeah.
but it was nice just to hear.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think one of my favorite documentaries, I think every single person, I think we spoke about this, every
Mhm.
single person who's thinking about having a family and being a parent needs to watch the movie 3 Identical Strangers.
You told me about that. I have not watched it.
Oh
I need to.
I'm not going to give it too much into it, because I think at the end of the day, you have to be, in my opinion, of like what I got from that, you have to be very in tune with your kid, understand their strengths and what they're good at, and then you can adapt to like guide them.
Yeah.
Right? You want to guide them to like the right place. And that movie was, it's a tough story, but I think my mom really knew like what I liked. I liked basketball. She put me into basketball. I played at St. Mark's for 11 years. She heard that I was talking that I want to like maybe play piano. I like tried piano and it was kind of boring. And then like a few years later, she's like, don't worry about it. She's like, you don't want to do it, don't do it. You know, like I'm not going to pay for you to go somewhere you don't want to be.
Right.
Then I would do a saxophone. In like a month, my mom bought me a $450 saxophone, and I was in saxophone classes. Wow. Like, but she was listening. And I wish that
really
if
aware.
you're a parent or a future parent, just listen. Just listening is so powerful.
Yeah. And again, especially across the board for those within our culture, right? Especially now, like everyone's view of success is it's evolving in a good way, and sticking to the norms of you need to be X, Y, or Z for us to be proud, or it's so different now. And it's just amazing to see people embracing that and to see parents embracing that. So yeah, I think that's really
my question
really
to
amazing.
You is, I know you're calling this the I'm factor.
The I'm factor. Yep, like the X factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you see in that factor?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want people to talk about it?
I want people to talk about it because I feel like people, honestly, it's actually funny. People put up a facade for themselves and people act, right? And people don't talk about really important conversations enough, whether they're too scared or it's not the social norm. And that's why I think it's so important, because the I'm factor is breaking that down. It's about you. I am. Like, who are you? Like, if you think about affirmations, right? I am this. I am that. Whether you use it to manifest, I am wealthy, whatever it is, right? It's bringing it down to who you are as a person. And I think that is what's so powerful. And I feel like that's not what we have enough of in the world, especially now in this day and age with social media. You see this one who has these watches and this job, and you see this one who's doing all these things. But what about them as an actual person? They've been through struggles and they've been through also amazing milestones. Like, let's talk about that and how that cultivated them to get to where they are. And I think that is what people could learn from one another, and less so what you see on the facade of things. So that's why, for me, I think that is a powerful message. And I don't feel like we talk about it enough, which is why I want people like you and other people to break it down and be like, hey, you know what? Like, this is my story, but I got here because of these personal things that I believe about myself or that I've experienced that have gotten me here. And that's what I think is so beautiful. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your I'm factor, Mr. Gary? And again, that it could change, right? For me, every day I have something different that resonates with, like, oh, today I really need to bring like my resilience into play, or oof, today I need to remember my time on birthright more. Like, that time is an I'm factor of mine. Yeah. What would you say yours is right now?
Oh my God, I don't even know. There's so many. My brain just is not operating. I don't even know what my factor is, I gotta say. Like, I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like each time it could be a quote, it could be a song.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I could say from an outsider's perspective, I think your self-awareness is unbelievable. I really do. I really do, especially with all of your pivots and all these things. Like, I feel like as a friend, you're able to really identify what works and what doesn't work for you. And that's what helps you keep moving in that positive momentum. And I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, I love my I am factor is definitely travel.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling just keeps, there's something beautiful about it.
And you learn a lot.
Yeah, I learned so much about myself, about where I'm at. And it's like, you don't even have to go to like Europe or anything like that, or a different country. We have so many beautiful places. Like tomorrow I'm getting on a flight to be in Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee for 1 week with a friend, my childhood friend, who his parents and my parents met during immigration in Italy, became friends in Italy. He grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. I grew up in South Brooklyn, Sheepshead Bay. And he recently got laid off from a job. And he's just taking a little break, and he lives remote. He works remotely, and he came to visit me, and he's like, "You gotta come." And I'm like, "You know what? I'm coming.
Why not?"
He's like, "We're gonna go whitewater rafting. We're gonna go fly fishing." And it's just like the factor that I have is like I love the ability that I'm not tied into anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lease car.
Yep.
You know, I don't have an apartment at the moment. I'm just like wherever I go on Airbnb or I stay with friends. And I love
you have freedom.
I have a freedom. I bought my freedom in a way. And that factor is like there's something beautiful.
That's my view of success. When you have full freedom, to me, that's what success looks like.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And it's just interesting how it makes people sometimes offended. Like sometimes I tell people, like, you don't have a place. They're like, don't you want to come home and just relax? I'm like, I can go out for a walk, put on a podcast, listen to you, listen to a song, listen to an interesting story that maybe Joe Rogan is talking with a psychologist, grab a coffee and go for a 1 hour walk. And I already have my peace for the whole day.
It's amazing.
Right? I don't know, for me, being by myself for a little bit is fine.
Yeah.
I don't have, I'm okay to be around people. Listen, there's certain people I cannot be around.
That's the whole thing with that we taled about earlier, right?
Yeah.
With the energies and knowing who's for you, who's
not
for you.
There's certain people I can't. I'm like,
yeah.
I got it. It was nice to,
Which is also good why that birth rate's 10 days. Because then there are those people and you're like, okay, 10 days somehow. See ya.
Listen, it's okay.
Yeah.
But
it's life. You're not going to be buddy with every person you come into contact with. That's just.
Yeah. But my factor might be not your factor.
Exactly. But that's why it's yours.
Yeah,
that's why it's I am.
Yeah. But it's, I don't know. I always wanted this, when I got into this realm of lifestyle, I definitely didn't want to work too much.
Yeah.
I work well when I'm working, but I also want to turn off, and travel is part of it.
Yeah.
So hopefully I have some food endeavors, and I want to we were talking about a show that I want to intertwine with I want to pretty much put, I'm not going to say too much about it, but I pretty much want to say I want to put 3 different TV type of projects or movies or documentaries into one project where there's multiple people in there. And
it's brilliant.
I think this, maybe we can go on the road together.
It's brilliant.
And
we'll definitely be doing stuff together. That's for sure.
And also my factors, meeting people that I can find a way to find a collaboration or find a creative outlet with. Every single person that I'm truly friends with, I've had in a creative outlet with. Yeah. Either we spoke about it, writing something, or we did write something, or we created something. Or we experienced something. It's about, for me, I could only be around those type of people.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel like I'm getting interviewed.
That fuels your fire. Yeah. It fuels you.
When we're together with your hubby, it's amazing. It's always what are we doing next?
Yeah. And then we're also spitballing entrepreneurial ideas. Then we're also spitballing activity, all these things.
Yes.
It is really.
Yeah. And we're in that moment having that food where we might be enjoying that food. We might not. We will criticize it a little bit. Oh, I would have done it better. Oh, I would, that's
food, all right.
All that stuff, and it's great. But we're not talking about people. And we're talking about things we're going to do. And that's
exactly
what's the beauty of. But there is something about where we come from and the connection we have.
It's true. And again, I think it is a lot of what has been instilled in us because we come from a community that is close. We come from a community that has really amazing morals, that has been through a lot. And at the end of the day, right, like we're both very blessed that we come from very strong foundations that have made us realize everything that we've realized today, and not to toot our own horns, but that are being disruptive and are paving the path for so many people. And that's what's so beautiful. I love you, Gary. Seriously, you're the best. I really just have to say, Gary, thank you. We went on like 50 different paths, but that's what I love about us is we are just real. We speak our minds, and I hope everyone listening was able to resonate and also honestly hear your story, because it is amazing. It is interesting. And even just to hear how you fell into things, how serendipitous a lot of things in your career have been, and just how you've navigated through that and the impact you've made on a community. That's what's so amazing that I want people to walk away with. So I thank you for sharing your story, and more to come. I love you.
Thank you. Yeah, and then I'm gonna have like an amazing podcast coming out soon.
Yes, let's plug it. Plug whatever you want to plug.
I don't know what the
What's
name of it
on?
officially yet is. At the moment, it's called Spilling the Chai with the Y. Like, you know, because we all have like the KYs in the last name.
Oh,
so
I love that.
Or it might be That's Beautiful, but I'm not sure. I'm still messing with the name. It's going to be 8 episodes. I'm super excited. It starts off with the first episode is going to be with the guy who helped me create even thinking about doing the podcast. And in the first episode, he's teaching me how to do the podcast. He sets everything up. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm a guest on my own first show. And it ends up being
so disruptive, Gary. You're so disruptive.
Amazing.
I love it.
Amazing.
Wow.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited.
What else? Plug away.
Going back to Israel. Going to be all of June in Israel, and I'm
staffing birthright trips.
Staffing trips.
If someone's interested in going on birthright with you, how can people get more information?
They can email me at garikbirthright@gmail.com. Garik. Garik means
we'll
Gary.
Include it in the description.
In Russian, if they want to reach out. The season's kind of already closed. There's like a pretty long wait list, but for next season, like winter or whatnot. And what else do I got going on? I think that's it. I'm going to be traveling for another month.
Amazing.
I'm super excited. I'm going to Tennessee. I've never been to Tennessee.
I've been to Nashville multiple times, but Tennessee overall is really nice.
I'm going to be like more away from like that stuff.
It's really
and
nice.
It's so nice. I was just visiting here for 2 days.
I know. And next time come for longer. So
my New York Rangers lost. Been so sad and heartbroken.
I know.
And but it's okay. I've been a little sad today. I don't know if you guys it was a tough loss. Yeah, it was a tough game. So like I apologize if like you're like, oh my God, Garik is a little like off. He's like something's off, and it's because of the Rangers. They break my heart. It's the worst TV show that I subscribe to. it's never ending. We had one lockout, you know, like But what are you going on? What's going on with you?
Honestly, I have another episode recording today. It's gonna be a solo one. But I have that.
Ooh.
But yeah, things are crazy. I still have my day job. So still working in that space, growing, moving, shaking. We'll see what happens. And then really trying to figure out where I'm going to take the I'm Factor next, what season 2 looks like, what some of the other things I want to do with the I'm Factor. Because I really want to build a brand. The podcast in X amount of time will just be like a subsidiary of the brand. So I'm just trying to figure that all out and see what happens. We're going to take the summer to give myself some space to really
I like that. Reflect
and
look back.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Like I was thinking about this and it could relate to what your project is going on and that you still have like your day job.
Yeah.
Is that when I was recently writing 2 weeks ago, I wrote that your side hustles will set you free.
Yeah.
And because my side hustle set me free. Of like the little stuff I was doing just to get by. Like there's like a famous, I might be getting this quote wrong, but Steven Soderbergh, he did the Ocean's 11 movies and all those stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And he always said 2 for the studios, 1 for me. Right? So he would always, so like sometimes you got to still.
Listen, you have to be smart. It also depends on what you value, right? For me, like I said, to me, definition of success is full freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, geographic freedom, all of that. And I'm taking steps to get there. The I'm Factor may or may not lead me there. I hope it does. But again, I'm doing it because I genuinely feel like there's a need for it. So, yeah.
And if you made it to this end of the episode and you actually listened to us, I just want to say I'm beyond grateful that you love this girl, Gabby, so much as I do. And please subscribe to all her channels, okay? Give a like and comments. And when we post something on Instagram, bookmark our stuff on Instagram.
Yep, save it.
Leave actual comments and not emojis. Like, leave little stuff because the little stuff really matters for people like us who like are posting stuff out there. And give love, okay?
Yeah, give love to both of us. We love you guys. Gary, thank you so much. You're incredible. And love ya.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. Whether you listened to it on your walk, in your car, during your morning routine, or at home, please take a second to subscribe and leave a rating and a review. Make sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at the I'm Factor Podcast to be a part of and engage in our awesome community. I would love to hear from you, so please leave a comment on this episode's Instagram post with what your favorite moment or takeaway was. Please feel free to DM me with topics and guests you would like to hear from and see on the podcast. Thanks for listening, and I will see you on the next episode.